Coach DaniBee. We have a special guest today, my beautiful mother. Hi, Mom.
Hello.
So we're just going to be having a discussion, really of whatever pops up. We just like to talk about my gymnastics experience and how you parented a competitive gymnast with 3 other kids to worry about as well. So just a background of my story and our story. My mom is the mother of 4, so I have 3 other siblings, 2 brothers and 1 sister. And I was a competitive gymnast growing up, which had some challenges with...
Yes, and fun.
And some fun.
Yes.
What do you think the challenges were of raising a competitive gymnast with 3 other kids to worry about?
Time. It was a huge time issue. Because you did, at one point you were doing 35 hours a week in the gym.
Wow.
Yes. On top of going to school, we had to travel to get you to the right gym, the best gym that we thought. That took time to travel.
Yeah, you would drive an hour to the gym
we did
sometimes and back.
Until we moved over closer to the gym. We actually moved for the gym.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it was a better place anyway. We were in New Hampshire. But we moved to Vegas, not because of your gymnastics, but because you would travel for competitions that took us to different cities. And we loved Las Vegas. We actually moved to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Because of the weather, really, more than anything. Because New Hampshire, after 10 years in the winter of New Hampshire. And when we got to, do you remember when we got to Gym Cats in Henderson?
Yeah.
It was 65 degrees in January and we just left 10 foot of snow in New Hampshire. So I think that was the main reason. It was better for the whole family.
Yeah.
And I think that was always my guiding light was I had to think what was best for the whole family, not just for you. I had to think what was best for you, but it had to be balanced out with the family because we were always a family. So that, to me, was the most important thing.
Yeah. So. And it's amazing how Gym Cats influenced my life so much. You know, I ended up being a gymnast there. I ended up working there for over 10 years and really being mentored by Cassie Rice, one of the best coaches out there.
It's one of the best moves we ever made.
So,
hi, Cassie.
Watching. Hi, Cassie. So it ended up being fantastic for me. How did my siblings take the move, and how did you weigh that cost-benefit analysis there?
Well, I think the main thing was your dad was already working from home. That was the major issue. At a time when people weren't working from home, we saw that was a really good idea, and he was doing that. So I remember calling him from Vegas saying, you would love it here, and the kids would love it because one of the main reasons I took you all to gymnastics in the first place was because of cabin fever. We couldn't go out. You literally couldn't go out for months.
So you wanted us just to get active. And move.
Yeah. And that's when we found Gym Ken right at the very beginning and the school and everything, and that's where it all started and led to.
Yeah.
And
so did all of us, so for you guys, Gym Ken is, it was a preschool in a gymnastics center. So we would practice our gymnastics classes, and then we would go into our preschool classroom where we'd do all our preschool activities.
It was a preschool and a kindergarten. It was amazing. I've never seen one before, and I've never seen one since.
Yeah, but that's really why having my own personal experience getting into gymnastics that way and finding all of the benefits from doing gymnastics at such a young age is why I started doing mobile gymnastics at preschools.
Yes.
It was one of the reasons why I started DaniBee's activities.
It was a real inspiration.
Yeah.
It was
so did all of us do that?
Yes.
Did Jamie do that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So we arrived in America, James was 6, you were 4, and I just had Alicia.
Yeah.
And literally it was cold and it was, you couldn't go outside. You could not stop jumping around and bouncing from the moment you were born. You even sort of, I don't know how you did it, but you watched TV upside down with your feet where your head should be on the couch and your head where your feet should be. You must have watched a lot of shows upside down. And it was just brilliant. So we put you in the preschool first, and it was great. It was 3 hours a day, and you did 2 hours school and 1 hour in the gym.
Yeah.
And you just were able to burn off your energy and get trained and everything. And obviously you were a natural right from the beginning. Jamie was different because he used it, he loved it, he loved to go. Really got a lot of benefit out of going, as they all did, I think. But he was never interested in competing. He was never interested in, it was just recreational for him.
Yeah.
And that was good because I could see all different levels, and that was okay because gymnastics can do that. You can go at different levels, take what you want, and you might hate it. I don't think Gregory, when the baby came, the youngest, he went to, and he really grew up around, at that point, gymnasts and gymnastics families and everything.
But I think that's a really important perspective to have about gymnastics. I think there's this misconception where if your child isn't good at it, they shouldn't do it.
No,
that's because
wrong,
we think of the Olympics, we think of, well, that's what we're trying to strive for, when really it's such a fantastic developmental for physical development. Yeah,
it has benefits on all levels throughout the whole life. Can I describe how I saw you, your children? When I used to watch you, because I've spent a lot of my life watching gymnastics, and when you start off, what I liked about it, you were in a group of your peers of the same age, and you had to sit around and take it in turns. You had to get up and perform, learn something that sometimes was a little scary, something that you had to really challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone. And what I liked the most about it was you supported each other.
Yeah.
You knew what you were going through. You knew what that other kid was feeling because you just felt it. You had to sit patiently and wait your turn. It was very disciplined. But I loved it if one of them screwed up and fell off the beam or whatever. Everyone else was arm round. I think that's an unusual thing to have happen when at that age, and something really good to learn. Compassion, empathy. You know how that kid feels, and when they actually learn a new skill, everybody cheered. Everyone was just happy for each other. And that might sound a bit corny, but it was actually true because you'd spent so much time together, that working on a team and support and everything. I just think the discipline, the overcoming fears, the persistence of keep practicing something until you achieve it. I think all of that was really learnt and encouraged. We were lucky we were at a really good gym with encouraging coaches.
Yes, I was just going to say,
it could have a very
really
negative if you criticise, or there's nothing worse than criticising a child.
Because we were the journey between, we went to some great gyms. I was also taught by Tony at Atlantic, Tony and Corey at Atlantic Gymnastics in New Hampshire, which was a fantastic gym environment, very positive. However, we did go to one that wasn't positive.
We visited a lot. Because when you became an elite gymnast, we went to a lot of gyms that I personally didn't like the way that they taught.
Yeah, I was pre-elite.
Elite. I'm a mom.
She's bringing me up a little bit. I was level 10 practicing pre-elite. I was a tops kid.
And that's another thing that was very hard for, I know all the parents who, do they still do tops?
Yeah.
Right, I found that was hard for me because you literally have to hand your child over to them.
Right, I think they've changed a lot now, but
I hope they have.
So I made the tops team in 1998.
Yes.
And I had to go to Oklahoma.
Yes.
This was before the training camp in Texas, so...
Did you ever go there?
No, it wasn't. I think Bella and Marta, they took over in 2000. Okay. So I think I just missed that.
It was, as a parent, it was really difficult to hand your child over because you were quite young, and I had to really make myself sure that it was all above board and that you were going to be well taken care of.
Well, I think the culture was so strange in that it was such a prestigious thing to make.
It was hard to fight against, to be
Right,
honest.
because I
You
worked
were a
so
troublemaker.
hard to get there. And then if you as a parent said, no, I don't feel comfortable with my daughter going
Which I
by
did a few
herself,
times.
you know, they'd be like, well, like, what are you talking about? Like, anybody would love to take Danielle's spot.
Yes.
Type of thing. So as a parent, you kind of felt like, I'm sure, it kind of pushed in the corner, not being able to.
That's exactly how I
Express how
felt.
you
But I
feel.
think we did, as best we could, a good job
Yeah.
protecting you from the things that were going on. And I could discern a coach that I particularly didn't like their teaching. Those who coach through fear and criticism, I don't think.
Yeah, it's really strange because the harshest moments I experienced in gymnastics was mostly from the USA gymnastics coaches when I was a tops kid. But I came from a really great club.
Yes.
So it was really strange how disconnected that was. How I had an experience where a coach just said, everybody get up on the beam and do a standing back tuck.
You'd never done a
But I had never done one on the beam. And from a coach's perspective, I get it. Like, she could tell that everybody could do it, but they just needed to get it done. Now, as a coach, the better way I
would you do that now?
No, because voice matters. So we need to have a culture where a child's voice, if they're afraid, they should be able to voice that concern because it's important.
And listened to and taken seriously.
Yes. So what she could have done differently and gotten the same exact result is, how do you guys feel about that? And, you know, someone raises their hand, well, that terrifies me. I feel like I'm going to throw up. That's how I was feeling. And, oh, okay, so why don't you do 10 on the line, see how you feel. Do 10 on the low beam, see how you feel, and work your way up. It would have gotten the same result in a very happy experience instead
and you
of...
remember it as a
a terrifying...
And probably every time you got up competing and doing that move, that probably came back to you, actually. Could have been a very
and
negative
it made
thing.
me feel like I was out of control, that adults had power over me. And that was the scary thing about what happened with the Larry Nassar and all of that, is we just felt like adults had power over us because we weren't...
A really bad thing to learn.
Yeah.
And that was something else I've actually learned since then, that you had times that you were worried to tell us, you didn't want to tell us about the things that were going on.
Oh yeah, I was very internal. I didn't tell anybody really how I was feeling.
And that's hard for a parent because you think that your daughter is having fun, you're actually spending a lot of money on it, and that, I think that comes into it, that you didn't want to tell us because it is a big investment, and it became a big part of our life as a family.
Yes.
Support
and
that.
it was my identity.
It was at that time.
You know, I mean,
knowing what we know now, if we went back, would you be able to tell us? No, I would. I think you would. And would I stop, or would you carry on?
I don't know if the culture of the gym was the same. I don't know if it was my family dynamics. Well, I think it's hard when you have a kid that's very good at something not to be proud of it and say,
encourage it.
Yeah, and encourage it and say, wow, you are so good at that.
I never once, our aim wasn't to go to the Olympics. I suppose that was off somewhere in the, you know.
Well, I wanted to compete
dreams.
for England. I remember
that was another time because we did, when you went to the tops in Pomona?
Yeah.
That you'd actually reached the end of the line because we hadn't got citizenship at that point.
Right.
So you could not go any further than that unless you had citizenship.
You know what? I secretly loved that. I
loved that.
I
I didn't know that.
I know. Because it was a great excuse for me.
Not to stop.
It was a great excuse.
I was kind of relieved.
To say, oh, I could have done it, but I'm not a citizen, so I'm not even going to show. Yeah.
But I did get in touch with the English team. You could have gone to another one too. We've got 3 citizenships between us. And
I was born in South Africa, so I could have competed for South Africa.
I remember speaking to the British team coach, top coach, and she wanted you, and we were all... But no, that would have split the family.
Yeah.
And I was, that was when I just bailed out. Then I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, I would have had to have gone with you. I wouldn't have let you go. And then that would have, no. So that is when our journey for that ended anyway. But then after that, I suppose you're then aiming for a college scholarship.
Yeah.
But then at the point where, and that brings us on to another subject, when do you let your child stop? When do you make sure that they just don't want to not go that day, or they want to give up their whole career? Because it's really hard to know when to
yeah, what did you do as a parent if one of the kids in any activity they were doing said, I don't want to go today,
I don't
or
want to
I don't want to go,
I don't want to do this anymore,
or I don't want to do this, yeah.
I don't want to do it anymore. That's when I'd paid for a month at least, and at the beginning of it, it's like, no, are you sure you're going to do this? It was all about commitment. If they
before the activity began, you said,
you're
this
sure,
is
because Mummy's going to pay now.
Yeah.
So you must promise you're going to keep this. You're going to give it a good try. But there were days where they didn't want to do it or anything. Like, come on, let's go. Let's see how you feel when you get there. And usually when you'd seen your friends and you're all it was just you didn't want to go that day. However, on all of the different activities that you all did, there came a point where I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes.
So finish off the month. If you're really sure about this, we'll stop. You can always go back to it.
Yeah.
With you, it was much bigger decision to make.
Yeah.
How old were you? Were you like 15 when you decided?
Yeah, I was almost 15.
Yeah. So you'd been in it for
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
It was a lot to give up. And you were coming up to college scholarship time. And we had invested a lot of money.
I had the ability then, with the skills that I had, to have gotten a college scholarship.
Probably,
already.
But I didn't know that. That's
so what?
Not what we.
What was in
about.
my mind was at 14, I knew that I had to do another 8 years of gymnastics, and I was scared of a lot of the skills. I was injured. I had back pain, knee pain, and I just.
You'd had enough. Your body had changed.
Yeah.
And
it's hard.
We knew you were going to get a scholarship, an academic one anyway. That's
right.
Another good thing to add. The when you do gymnastics, the discipline you learn in the gym makes you a very disciplined student.
Yes, and even time management.
Time management.
It was I have this hour before I have to be at the gym. I don't have any other time during the day if I don't do my homework now.
Right, and you did it.
Oh yeah, like.
It all just came as a package, really. That it was.
It was really nice to have that
yes.
designated time. I think it might be difficult for kids to come home and have 5 hours to finish their homework. You know what I mean? When it's like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So that was really good.
Yes, it does. It does really show through in lots of different areas of life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the other thing that I always thought that amazed me was, what was it I said yesterday about knowing where your body is, spatial?
Proprioception, body awareness. And
all of my kids have got that.
Yeah.
Because they started off in the gym, and the thing about doing some
ducking
roll,
your head, safety,
so many kids could not do that, and you all could do that. It's like a natural thing. I didn't realise that was the thing, especially boys have a problem doing that, the way the body is.
Right.
I think it does show up in a lot of different ways. You're more in the moment, you know where you are, and you have more confidence, I think, for that in a good way. Very confidence building.
Definitely.
At any level.
We could talk forever, couldn't we?
Is it the end that?
I mean, we've been talking for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I know. This is what we do. We just hang out and talk.
Talk.
Is there anybody live that has any questions before we leave? Anybody live that has any questions before we head out?
You mean there's people out there?
Yeah, there's some people out there. I'm going to put the video out too. I'm going to save it. And
we'll send questions after.
We had someone said, good convo, your mom is phenomenal. You are a lucky girl.
Aww.
Keep up the good work, Danny.
I like her.
Oh, that was nice. Thanks, Tumble Friends. That was sweet. Well, thank you guys all for joining. And if you want to refer back to this, we'll probably listen to it too later to see how we looked and sounded. But thanks for joining